The world is going to very soon, and I'm talking like this coming month of February, begin to experience the pains or the changes that are related to a rise of a new monetary system and a falling away of the old. But the old is not going to probably completely go away right away. It's just so the dollar might devalue by a percentage, maybe 10, maybe 30%, whatever it will be, but it's going to be falling in value as a new monetary system rises.
Welcome to Rethinking the Dollar. Today I'm excited to have my guest, Mr. Bo Polny. He's an economic and market forecaster over at Go2020forecast.com. Today, Mr. Polny will share with us his thoughts on the forecast of our economy, as well as the future of the Federal Reserve Note. Bo is famous for his psychoanalyst work in predicting several events that has already occurred in the precious metals sector, as well as equities markets. Today, he's joining us to share his thoughts, and I'm looking forward to diving deeper into his thoughts on the 20,000 Dow. So, Bo, welcome to Rethinking the Dollar.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for contacting me, and I look forward to chatting with you today, so thank you very much.
Well, I'm a big fan of your work. I've watched several of your interviews in the past, predictions and forecasts and things like that, and you, for the most part, are nailed on with a lot of your predictions, so clearly it's some things that you're doing that is, proven to be true. So I'm looking forward to getting your thoughts on, as I mentioned, the Federal Reserve Note. But before we dive into that, I usually start off with some Rethinking the Dollar questions, and the first question is, what comes to mind when Bo Polny hears the words Rethinking the Dollar?
Well, the dollar is paper-based, backed by nothing. Okay, so we go to work every day. Everybody makes the dollar. They make money, but what they're making is a fiat currency, which is really it's something that has no backing. In 1970, Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard, and ultimately, ever since then, that gave the people that print money the ability to print as much of it as they want. And so it's all you've seen is the national debt keep rising and rising. Why? Because they can print as much money as they want. And they now, years ago, created what's called derivative contracts. And derivative contracts are basically multiplications of printing money, so you can print it faster. And what they end up doing is printing as much as they want because it's not tied to anything. And it just keeps getting devalued until one day the bubble bursts. And the people that end up owning and having the dollar end up finding that it's worth, much less than they thought it was worth, and other asset classes explode in value. But basically, that's what it is. You have to rethink the dollar because the dollar, for years, it's been considered, the currency of the world. But what happens if one day you wake up and it's not? That's when there's going to be a big change. But when that change happens, if you haven't prepared for it, what you end up having is you're stuck holding a currency of paper that very quickly changes in value, and the asset classes like gold and silver are going to be very hard to get because of their price value. That's going to happen immediately. It's going to be very quick because of computers. Everything changes very quickly. So, if you believe the dollar is almighty and it will never drop, then you don't understand economics, because if you study history, you will prove yourself wrong that the dollar cannot keep going up forever. And when it does change, it's going to be very sharp, very painful, and very fast.
Right. Now, based upon an explanation there, which is very thorough, why is it important now more than probably any time in history for citizens globally to really begin taking interest in this matter here, what I call monetary awareness or monetary literacy?
Well, that's a great question. And if you've watched, people should go to my YouTube channel, Go2020 Forecast. But there's a YouTube channel we have, and there's several videos titled like Shemitah, and they're done like they have, from like a year ago. But in those videos, we have long-term cycles. And this is really important because biblically, you can trace this back to the time of Jesus. And there is a 252-year cycle that's been running ever since, the time of Jesus. And the last time this cycle hit, this is really important, the last time the cycle hit was in 1764, and that was a currency act. Or was it 54 or 64? But it was a currency act of 1764, I believe it was. So if you go 252 years forward, and this is the monetary act that created money, okay? Actually, this is involving the bankers of London, and they created a currency act that was 252 years ago. 252 years forward, it takes us to 2016, wow, which was last December. So currency, in theory, that I'm looking at in the cycle theory, it ended last December. So I did a video, and I did several of them in December. Very specifically, I did several in the past few weeks. One was 2,000 Dow, then shock, 20,000 Dow, then shock. We did a video on December 15th, and we basically said the dollar should be topped and finished right here. And the dollar came into like 103.53, I believe it was. And then like on the first day of January, it went up a little higher, but then dropped, and it never went close of above 103.53 ever. And today it's like, I think, trading like in the 100 range or 100.5 or something like that. The very, very, very end of January here. But the point is, the dollar from 1764, believe it or not, 252 years later, it ended its cycle in December of last year. So basically about 6 weeks, say 4 to 6 weeks ago. And notice the dollar is now falling. The markets are starting to fall today. The Dow, last I checked, is down back under 20,000. So the point is that everything should have ended with relation to the dollar probably like 4 weeks ago, right around the 103 range on the dollar.
Wow. Now you say ended with the dollar. So paint a picture for that. Paint a picture for us as to what ending for the dollar looks like. I mean, what does that look like in our monetary system? And go in a little deeper for that for me.
Okay, so when a cycle ends, a new one has to rise. It's that simple, but also complicated too. So think about this. For 252 years, there's been a monetary cycle that's been building and brewing. For that, that's an incredible amount of time that's gone by for that cycle to have occurred. That included all the stock crashes that we've had. In the 1940 stock crash. It included the 1987 stock crash. It included everything. Okay, and this monetary cycle, the financial monetary cycle, is supposed to have come to an end in December of last year, 2016. And so it pushed a little higher here, for the stock markets. It took a little higher, so it went into in January for the Dow to hit 20,000. But the point is, it all should have ended. It all should have finished. Okay, and so now that the Dow basically is at a point where the dollar has finished, what's supposed to happen is a new monetary system is supposed to rise in direct opposition to what we've had for all those years. Right. So a new monetary system rises as this old one falls away. Okay, but as it falls away, there's going to be a lot of extreme, tension probably, or issues that something has to happen, because you can't just have a falling away of this huge old cycle and a new one rise without anything to transition it. Right. So the world is going to very soon, and I'm talking like this coming month of February, begin to experience the pains or the changes that are related to a rise of a new monetary system and a falling away of the old. But the old is not going to probably completely go away right away. It's just so the dollar might devalue by a percentage, maybe 10, maybe 30%, whatever it will be, but it's going to be falling in value as a new monetary system rises, and it's going to be rather quick too. So the new monetary system that rises will directly be backed by something tangible. And what's that? It's something that you can hold in your hand. And so they're tangible asset classes backed by real value, because that system that we've had wasn't backed by what? Anything, right? As of 1970, it wasn't backed by gold anymore. So the new monetary system that rises will be directly related to asset classes such as gold and silver, but real money. Right. And so that's what it is. So the dollar now that it topped, it's now got a down cycle for years. And so, my work, it's hard to do prices more so than it is time. because time on a page is left to right. So it's amount of months, amount of days, sideways, left to right, whereas price is vertical or up or down. And so the dollar's got a down cycle, and at some point there's going to be sharp drops. So I look at the gold cycle, and I know where gold's going to jump. So our gold analysis has been incredibly accurate since the low came in here in December. We've had all the turns so far that actually gold is done, and right now we have another turn that just occurred. But most importantly, we have a very, very powerful upcycle brewing for gold and for silver beginning in February. And it's going to be really exciting what follows. But remember, if gold's shooting up and going up with silver, what's the dollar doing?
Yeah, going down, obviously.
That's correct, because they're opposite. The dollar is going to be, so the reason, if gold's going up, so I know the cycle for gold is an up cycle and it should be powerful. So if it's a powerful up cycle, then the only reason it could powerfully be going up because the other at class 2 would be the dollar, it would have to be doing the opposite.
Right.
So a lot of excitement here that's about to happen, but the problem is for people, if they're not positioned, they're going to be stuck on the wrong side of the bus, on the wrong side of the tracks.
Right.
When all this happens.
Now, in your most recent video that you just posted not too long ago, it's entitled, Global Reset 2017. So is this kind of like leading into that reset you're talking about starting in February or around this time frame? The reset will officially begin, and I assume it'll be triggered by some country or some entity, not within our own country. Paint a little picture for us with that. Walk us through what that reset could entail. Of course, with the dollar going down, but how about other fiat currencies as well?
Well, all fiat currencies are all paper. Okay, so unless they're backed by something of tangible value, but generally, all the main currencies like the dollar, the pound, the euro, they're all basically they're not backed by much of anything.
Yeah.
So, but the dollars have the biggest rise so far. So the dollar is the one that should get hit the most in the near term. They're all ultimately going down. Okay, all the currencies. We have a down cycle all the way for the dollar specifically into next year. Okay, before there's even a bounce. But all the currencies will probably be doing the same thing. Just the dollar will be going more than the other currencies. So like we have a temporary upcycle for the euro as an example, right? So we said the euro should have bottomed in December and the euro should have an upcycle in January. Well, we're right about that, right? And so the euro is going to have an upcycle. It's just the problem is that ultimately they're all going to head downwards. They're just going to take their turns. But right now it's the dollar's turn to really accelerate to the downside. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Now let's talk about also in that video you mentioned the 20,000 Dow. Dow is all-time highs, and it's a lot of people are excited. A lot of mainstream guys are saying, oh, it's a great time to get in now and all that good jargon they're spilling out there. What are your thoughts on that, and how low will it go when it corrects, if it corrects, or take us through 2017 with the Dow?
Well, the Dow is we've got several legs down. We have a leg down in February. So we've got in my subscribers, we have what's called a stock index. So in there, we have two cycle turns. We have a drop in February, and then we have a drop in the month of March. Okay, so there's two drops. February should be a crash, and then March should be a collapse. Okay, now when I say collapse in March, that doesn't mean that it's going to go to 50 or 80%. It could be 20 to 30% on the Dow. Okay, in that range. We do have a target that it's supposed to hit. To me, more importantly, is the day, not the price. And so we've got a time point that's supposed to mark the specific low on the Dow. And the timing's been rather incredible. Even like right now, the dropping on the Dow, we're supposed to see a turn here on Monday, and we're getting it. So the Dow has been very challenging for a long time. And finally, when we got the time, to really look at the patterns that it's been doing, it's been really incredible because when we were looking for 20,000 a Dow, we were literally like, it hit. I think it was just a 0.3 or 0.7 shy of it in early the second week of January, and like in the last week it finally hit it. So yeah, we were like a week off on the stock market. But the stock market, we were looking for that 20,000. Honestly, the reason we're looking for it because of a prophecy that was written 10 years ago, saying 20,000 on the Dow. I had the cycle pattern that said it was supposed to come in roughly around the end of December into the mid-January, and then the actual 20,000 actually hit a week later, 4 days later, or something like that. But once that was hit, it's over. Because I know from the patterns that gold bottomed in December, the dollar topped in December, and then now the 20,000s hit. There's nothing else. All three are hit. All three are complete. And all that's left is, from the video, the title, 20,000 Dow, then chaos, right? Or whatever the title was, then shock, I think what it was. But so we're supposed to now see sizable moves in the first quarter. Then after the first quarter, the stock market will stop from falling, okay? We're supposed to get a bounce. And then in the latter part of the year, it's supposed to get hit again. Okay, so my question right now that I'm waiting for is to see what happens in the first quarter. But I'm more so specifically focused right now on precious metals, because that is the place to be. And people that don't have any, they really are going to be sad that they don't have any very soon, because they are so cheap right now. You can look at gold. It's at price levels that it was. If you compare the price to where it was like in the year 2000, it's on the same trend channel. So it's in the bottoms. It can't go any lower. It's so cheap right now. Yeah. And silver, oh my God, it just at 70 to 1. Are you kidding me? At 7. When you mine gold and silver, so just for your listeners, when you mine gold and silver, okay, the mining companies, for every ounce, they basically take out 10 ounces of silver roughly from the ground for every ounce of gold, okay? Well, right now you can buy silver at 70 to 1 or 75 to 1. That's insane, okay? Yeah. But remember, the monetary system is based on on nothing based on it's not based on gold and silver, so you can print as much as you want, so you can bring the ratios down to obnoxious levels. But remember, when everything changes, you want the most hated asset class. And what is that? Silver.
Wow.
Because it goes from the most hated asset class in the world, because it's the cheapest thing in the world you can buy right now, but it's real money, and it's going to turn into the most desirable, the most wanted, the most everything asset class in the whole world when everything changes.
When everything changes. Now, let me ask you a question on the political front. Now, there's a lot of tension coming out of Washington, D.C. now with President Trump in there and the executive orders he's passed and this banning some, people from entering the country and things like that. So how does all of those type of events factor into your cycle work? Does it at all, or is it solely, and on the finance side with numbers and things like that? Or does the political events factor into some of this shift that could take place? Could, something happen with Trump to be a catalyst for all this start, or what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, that's a great question. And what I wrote to my readers, to all my subscribers, on the 20th of January, on the inauguration, I said, the old world you knew just ended.
Wow.
And a new just began. So you'll be able to draw a line on that date in months from now, in years from now, and know that everything you believe to be true ended on that date.
Wow.
And from that day forward, everything shifts. Without Trump, you will not have a rise of the new monetary system. He is the one that will usher in the new monetary system. What did he promise to the people? I will clean up. I will change everything. He made the promise.
Yeah.
And he will come through. His whole agenda is to make, to take down what are the lies, everything that's been going on in Wall Street, where they've all profited. And look at the population across the world. I drive to some of the bigger cities and I look around, and it really makes me sad to see these people living on the streets, and then you have, and all you hear about is how wealthy Wall Street is, and how these, how could you have such extremes in the world? It's so disheartening to see people living on the streets in a country like the United States, that is supposed to be God's country, that that has everything that the world looks up to, and you have You drive to Los Angeles and you don't understand how many people live under bridges and tents.
Wow.
Why? In the most flourished, in the most, that the whole world at one point was looking up to this country of the United States. But then you have Wall Street, that all it is filled with millionaires and billionaires selling homes in Wall Street for obnoxious amounts of money. And you can't have that. So I believe this is time for the world. It's about to change. There's enough. And God's had enough. And I believe this is the time where God now, he's basically had enough, and he's going to make things change. But he needed to have a figure in the office that could make the change and to allow it to happen, that was capable to do it. And I believe this is an incredible, exciting time for the world, because everything you knew shifts.
Right.
And a new will rise, but the new that will rise will be very exciting. And it'll be a great time. A lot of excitement is coming for the U.S. A lot of great things are very soon to be here.
Wow. Now, let me get your thoughts on because Trump has a history of kind of being a gold bug himself. So do you see, of course we don't know, but yeah, do you see him being the catalyst to begin implementing metals back into, or do you think the powers that be would allow that to happen? This change, which is inevitably, it's long overdue. It's coming regardless. But will it be a welcome change by the ones that kind of oversee all of this and the establishment, as they say?
Well, look at it this way. The establishment did not want Trump in office. And it happened. Before even that, I don't think they wanted Trump to even run. They did everything they possibly could to not have him win. I think the show that went on TV was just incredible to watch. Everything that they could have said and done, they did. And what happened?
He won.
He won. Not only did he win, then everything they tried to do to not have him inaugurated. And he was inaugurated.
Yeah, so he's officially in the White House. I know right now there's just you turn on the news, there's a lot of protests every airport, so there's a lot of tension and it's
right. But sorry to interrupt, but you have to look at it both ways, okay? Mm-hmm. Because remember the cycle, right? One is ending and another is about to rise, okay? So you have to have people don't like change,
right?
Okay, and so when there is change, half the people that are there, whether they're paid or not, who knows what's going on? Right. It doesn't matter. It's just change going on. But the bottom line is, what's about to happen is, as this old falls away and the new rises, and the ones that want the rise, think about, I went to one of the Trump rallies. You couldn't get a parking spot to get to, and this is like when he was running. You couldn't get a parking spot, and this was like a huge. There were so many parking spots. Everything was full. The line was like miles long just to try to get in. Okay, we're lucky to be able to get in. My point was, I've never seen something like that before, where the lines were so incredible to try to get in to see a person speak. Okay, it's just truly fascinating. What kind of crowd he could draw. And this was like in June, before even way before the election. Mm-hmm. So it's incredible. So this shift is simply it's people that don't want the change, and then they probably don't even know half the reason why they're there anyways. Right. They get in line because people do, and so they're arguing, or they're just there's rallies. But to be honest with you, it's expected when a shift is happening, and that's what you have to visualize. This is a shift of an old falling away and a new rising, but there's but you have to, when that happens, you have tensions.
Right. So you made it very clear that a change is occurring, a new monetary system is arising, and it's going to be backed by something tangible that is undervalued now, but will become very valuable at that point. Now, the name of the show is Rethinking the Dollar. And so the Federal Reserve note, that's all most people have in their possession as their main primary medium of exchange, investment tool. So what does that look like for those who have, portfolios, worked 40, 50 years, expecting a pension, and, all of a sudden this new monetary system is rolled in and the purchasing power of their lifelong savings is minimized, and that's going to hurt. That's change that most people wouldn't want to see, unfortunately, even though it probably is necessary to wash out some of the, the old garbage we've been carrying on and problems we've been causing. But talk about that a little bit. I mean, if it is a new shift, that means everything else that was saved and earned and worked for will be gone.
I believe the shift is going to be. See, this is where you have to take it to the next level, and this is just my perspective, okay?
Right.
But I believe the shift is going to be, because if this is going to be a shift, it's going to be biblical. This is going to be something. It's not just like a slight change. It'll be so dramatic. It'll be something that'll be a look back on in history as like one of the greatest shifts in history. This is like, it'll be one of those the generations will talk about.
Right.
And when this happens, the people that were positioned for it, that were expecting it, I believe those people will be put in very, nice positions to be able to help make the change, because there'll be enough of people around the world to help everybody else. And I think that's what's going to happen, is the people are going to get together and help one another, because that's how it's supposed to be. So even though people maybe have dollar-based, they don't have, weren't intelligent enough to maybe buy some gold or silver or, or Bitcoin or something that's going to help transition them into the next era, I think that the people will rise and do the right thing.
Well, Bo Polny, I thank you for taking time to sit down with us and share your perspective and forecast on things that are coming. And so definitely, I am excited, a little bit concerned, but excited, because I know change is inevitable. So I'd rather be on the good side of change than on the bad side, of it. So thank you for joining us. Can you give our viewers that may just come across you for the first time where to find you at, of course, your website, but what type of services you offer and things like that?
We have a YouTube channel with the most recent videos. We try to tag some of them to our webpage at gold2024cast.com. And then services, we have three things we offer: a stock index, we offer a gold index. We just basically kind of give time projections, longer term time projections. But specifically the stock one does cover the next two cycles that we talked about for February and for March, the crash lows that we're expecting. And then the turn dates is more for the gold, so that's kind of gives shorter term cycles, gold and silver patterns. So that's more for trading people. But again, if you're not a trader, you definitely don't need that. But just longer term patterns, I think the gold index and the stock index are a great thing to have. But most important, and then beyond all that, if you don't, please watch our videos. Subscribe to our videos. At least if we ever, we don't do them too often. Every so often we'll load a video, and if you're subscribed to our video, you usually get a notification of it. But we try to, like, we just loaded one, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and that's definitely worth watching. And I think what was the title of that one? We just was
the Global Reset 2017.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it was a couple. Yeah, but it was the title alone lets you know that it's worth watching. So definitely it was a good one. So
exactly. So please take the time to watch that to at least get an idea of what what to expect. I really hope people pay attention. There's a lot of changes happening. There's an incredible changes happening, but they haven't even happened yet. But we're like on the doorstep of it. So I really hope your viewers pay attention. Please take this to heart. And beyond all of that, I believe we're living in biblical times, and I believe that God is just a part of everything we do. So I really hope people, on top of the monetary system, truly do, look to inside, and I think they'll get a good answer as to what they should do, because God talks to us, so we need to really listen.
All right, I do agree. With Bo Polny, thank you. Look forward to continuing to follow your work. You do a great job of making it simple for us guys to understand that are not, in the trading world. But I thank you for your time, and definitely look forward to, continue to watch what you do. So keep at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.